Hey everybody, I am filming a makeup tutorial slash try on for some of the recent makeup items that I got. So the ones that I got that I'll be showing are some blush and bronzer liquid options from Hard Candy, the NYX Bear With Me Skin Tint, which is kind of a tinted moisturizer, and the ColourPop in a Daze palette, which is kind of some lilacs, violets, periwinkles, blues. It's really pretty, as you can see from the eyes. So I will go ahead and get right into it. Okay, the first thing I'm gonna do is pin my hair back as usual. For primer, I'm gonna use my e.l.f. Glow Sunscreen. And I usually either apply this with my fingers or with my foundation brush. So today I'm just gonna go ahead and use my Morphe foundation brush. So I'm gonna just apply a glob to the back of my hand and then go in with my brush and just kind of do this all over the face. All right, for my base, I have a couple of new things from NYX, and the one I'm gonna use today is the Tinted Skin Veil. Now, there aren't a lot of colors to select from, and I was also choosing on the website, so I didn't get to color match at all. So that's one kind of criticism I have right off the bat, is that there aren't really good shades. But to be fair, in something like a tinted moisturizer, maybe if the formula is really lightweight, it's not as important to get your skin shade exactly correct. So I'm excited to try this and I'll see. So it's supposed to provide a fresh face look, even out skin tone, provides seamless coverage, and a few other claims. So I'm gonna use this just on the back of my hand, just starting out with that much. And then as usual, I'm gonna use my Morphe brush. And I'm just going to put some of this coverage on the skin. So right away I can tell it's really light coverage, but it's good that this formula is what it is, because my skin color does not match the color I picked out at all. But it's nice that it's just kind of blending into the skin. And I will say, even though like you're going for light coverage, I would say you probably need more than you would use if it was another product. So I'm gonna go ahead and use a little bit more. If it was something like a full coverage foundation, I would only use one pump. But since this is such light coverage, I'm gonna go in with a little bit more. And one thing is, since this is so wet, like I am noticing that it's very streaky with my brush. And so you just kind of need to go over it more times than you would a less streaky formula. All right, so now that it's on, I think the color match is good. I mean, I shouldn't say color match, but I think the nice thing about the formula is it really blends into my skin. And so it looks like my exact skin color, which it's really hard for me to find in other products. So as far as the skin tint goes, I think it's okay. The one thing that I'm surprised about is that for such a lightweight and dewy formula, it's kind of caking on my nose a little bit, which I don't think it'll look bad at the finished product, but it was a little surprising. So I would say I probably have to use this a few more times to know if it's worth it. But if you're somebody who likes really, really sheer light coverage, just to like even out skin tone or texture, I don't know about the texture. It doesn't really even out any texture. I have a couple of little spots. I don't really get a ton of spots, and so that's one reason I don't use concealer or full coverage foundation. I would say it probably doesn't even out your texture a ton, but skin tone, I think it does even out. So two products that I heard about online that I'm gonna use today are from Hard Candy. This is a Luminous blush, and this is a gel bronzer. And I don't think I've ever used a gel bronzer before. So I'm kind of excited to see how it turns out. So I'm gonna use the blush first, and it comes in this tube. The shade I got is, they might only have one shade, or this one says Born Yesterday. And it comes in a wand with a kind of angular doe foot applicator. So I'm just gonna dot this, and wow, it's bubblegum pink, like yikes. I probably wouldn't wear this as an everyday blush. Oh boy. I'm gonna blend it in with my fingers. One thing that it's a little bit hard for me with finger blending is that I sometimes like don't blend out the lines very well. So that's something I just have to pay extra careful attention to. As far as the formula though, I think it like blends into the skin really nicely, and at least for me, who has a little bit of a darker skin tone than some people, I think that it kind of mellows out, the bright pink kind of mellows out. And I think it adds a nice like flushed look to the face. Again, I wouldn't wear this as an everyday because I kind of like more toned down like peach or apricot colors as an everyday. I'm gonna use the rest just on my nose and just kind of pat out the edges, but it's not bad. Before doing bronzer, I'm gonna do a little bit of contour with my nude sticks in Bondi Bay, and that's the shade I use, Bondi Bay. And I am gonna use the brush that it comes with to blend it out rather than my fingers, because I just don't really trust my fingers to get the job done with a product this dark that will look really silly if I leave harsh lines. All right, so for bronzer, again, I'm gonna use the Hard Candy. I think there's maybe only one shade of this, but it's called Honey Glaze. So if there are multiple shades, that's the one I got. And it's the same packaging. So it's got the same applicator. For bronzer, I'm gonna use it kind of like only a little bit lower than where I'm gonna put my highlight. And I'm gonna try to go sparingly because I don't wanna look as if I'm like trying to sport a fake tan because it is still kind of winter. And since this is such a light cream product, I'm gonna just blend it out with my fingers. This is where I'm used to placing bronzer if I use it, but this might be too high on the cheek. I know some people kind of use like this area right on the cheekbone, right above where their contour is for bronzer. And I'm curious to see where you guys put it. I'm gonna use the excess to just put up here on my temples and forehead. I would say my thoughts on it are that it's similar to the blush, that it's really easy to blend out. So I think as far as the look goes, like maybe I just put it in the wrong spot because I don't really love how it turned out, but I think I'm gonna go over it with highlighter. So I'm gonna use the Morphe 2 Liquid Illuminator, in Gleam Catcher, which has a slight pinky tone to it that I think will go well with the pinks in my blush. And then I'm just gonna do a tiny bit on the tip of the nose and the bridge. And then again, just use this same finger to blend it out. One thing I really like about this one is just that it's so lightweight that it really blends into the skin well. Like I really love highlighters, and I like liquid highlighters or liquid illuminators kind of more so than cream or powder, just because they, I think, melt into the skin better. All right, almost time for eyes. I'm gonna use my Smashbox Primer Water just to hydrate the skin a little bit more. And I think I'll go over with a little powder as well. So I'm gonna use the Revlon Photo Ready Candid. I want to go back to using the e.l.f. Halo powder, but right now the shade I have in it is like a little bit too dark for me. I like the translucent powder lately. So I'm just gonna use this Revlon powder with my e.l.f. powder brush. All right, now to go into the other product that today is focused around. This is one of the new ColourPop palettes, or new to me at least. It's in a Daze, and it's like lavenders and blues, and I haven't tried it before. I kind of like that the palette has the clear lid so that you can see the colors. It'll be kind of nice when I'm like rifling through palettes, just deciding what to do. I think these colors are so pretty. So I'm gonna use a mix of the lavender colors and the blues that we have in here. So I'm gonna use 2 e.l.f. brushes for this look. The larger one is the blending eye brush, and then the smaller one is the crease. So I'm gonna use the crease one that's a little bit stiffer bristles for obviously the crease and for my outer corner. And then the blending, which is a little bit softer, just a little bit softer, I'm gonna use for the overall lid. So I'm gonna go into the top center color, Total Knockout, and I'm gonna apply that all over the lid. And you can see there was a little creasing from the serum that I put on my eyelid that the setting powder didn't quite get to. So sometimes I use like a translucent powder or a skin tone color or even a light cream color on my lid to set the powder, but since I'm going all over the lid with this color, I decided to just use this color to set it. Right now that the lids are done, I'm gonna use a couple of colors for the crease. So I'm gonna first go into the Floral Vibes color, and I'm gonna do a little bit on the outer corner. It's very similar to the one we just used on the lid. It's just a little bit darker and more intense of a color. I'm not gonna spend too much time on that because I'm gonna go in with some of the blue colors for this outer corner for the most part. I just wanted to create a little bit of a gradient, and then I'm blending here to the top of my, or I guess the bottom, I should say, of my brow bone, top of the lid, bottom of the brow bone. There's so many pretty colors. Okay, so to kind of start the transition into the blue, I'm gonna go into this color, New Daze. It's a very like periwinkle color, and I'm gonna bring this halfway to the lid. So I'm gonna focus it on the outer half of my lid and just kind of pack it on there so that there will be a distinction between the outer half of the lid and the inner. You can see how there's that kind of line. I want to get the color really intense first, and then I will blend out the edges like this. And when you're blending, you just want to take a softer touch. So really, really light touch, grip the tip of your brow brush. And then for a more intense look, you can just pack it on with a stronger hand, if that makes sense. All right, I really like those colors. So to move further into the blue, I'm gonna use this Got Gems color at the bottom, and I'm gonna use my crease blush rather than the blending brush this time. So as usual, I kind of start with a V for the most intense color and then just blend it out. I like this shape on me to do a gradient from lightest to darkest and to focus on this V shape. One thing I'll say about this color is that the Periwinkle New Daze wasn't very pigmented, but this Got Gems blue color is. So if you only want a light blue, use a really light hand. I want a more intense blue, so I'm going in like really picking up a lot of product, really using a firmer hand to really pack it in. Okay, I really like the colors so far. I am finding it a little bit hard to blend the blues and purples without it muddying, but that's probably more a function of my technique than it is the problem of the product. So I really like this light blue shade here. So I'm gonna start out my shimmers with that. I'm done with the mattes. I'm gonna go into shimmer. So I think what I'm gonna do is mimic the shade transition from what I have so far. So on the very inner corner, I'm gonna go in with this Indiegogo in the very center there. And then I'm gonna use the light blue Daydreaming kind of in the very center, and then blend it out to Wanderlust in the outer corner. I really like the lavender that I have built up here, and I don't want to go over it. So I'm gonna start out with Daydreaming, this light blue in the dead center, but with a really light touch. I don't want it to go all over at the beginning. I want it to be really, really light and shimmery. And it's so beautiful. Like, I love shimmers so much. Okay, doing the other eye. Okay, and now taking my pinky, I'm gonna go into the Indiegogo for the inner portion. And I love this color, like holy cow, this is really pretty. And so you can see I'm still preserving the same color scheme that I had before, where I went in with the kind of purpley colors in the center and then kind of a gradient into the light blue that eventually goes out into the darker blue. Okay, for the last shimmer, I'm gonna use this darkest blue Wanderlust, and I'm gonna try to go pretty light because I don't really like shimmers going like that far out on my skin, because I think I've talked about it before, but your skin gets thinner and more papery as you get to the edges, and shimmers really bring out any fine lines or wrinkles you have. Or like me, my eyelids are like a little bit veiny. And so I just like to try to avoid bringing out that texture. And then usually after I've gone in with the outer shimmer, then I just go in with the same brush I used for the outer corner and soften out the edges a little bit so that it's not quite as stark of a contrast between the shimmer and the matte. All right, that's eyeshadow done. Can you believe it? All right, so I'm just gonna quickly go into brows, and I'm just using the same pomade wand from Benefit that I've been using. It's just so easy and so quick, and just kind of angling the tip to give my wing a darker line there. This serum that I used is so lightweight that it didn't really do anything for covering up my scar right here. But I've kind of grown to embrace the scar more, and I'm not that worried about it. But if you're looking to cover up textures like that, you know, this serum really isn't gonna get the job done. For eyeliner, I'm gonna use my NYX liquid liner in Lilac. And then I like to have a little bit of black closest to the lash line, and so I'm gonna go over this with black like in a thinner wing when I'm done. I've tried it the opposite way of doing the black thin wing first and then putting the color over it, and I just can't get my like precision down to the level where it doesn't look super wonky. So I decided to just put the colored liner on first, and I'm putting it on somewhat thicker than I would ordinarily because it doesn't show up that much, and I also want to leave room for that black liner on the bottom once it's dried. All right, now that that's had a little time to dry, I'm going to go in with my black liquid liner and just do a line over the top. Guys, where's my liquid liner? There it is. My Sephora, it's running out, so I really need to get some more. But I'm gonna go in really close to the lash line and just wing out the black here. All right, I'm still working on my technique for graphic liner, so it doesn't look great, but one thing I'm gonna do is go in with some eye makeup remover and a Q-tip and clean out the wings a little bit. And I do this a lot because I don't use concealer. So if the shadow line kind of extends past the wing, or if my like wing didn't turn out as precise as I want it to, I'll go in with the Q-tip and kind of just give it a little encouragement. So like right there, you can see the wing is more precise and there's no shadow underneath. Now that my eyeliner has had a chance to dry, I'm gonna do one of the final steps before setting, the final step before setting, which is mascara. So I'm gonna use the Essence Lash Princess, and it just advertises a false lash mascara effect. This one is not waterproof because I don't like waterproof mascaras on me. I just find that it's like really hard to take off, which I know is the point, but like even with cleansers and eye makeup removers, it just seems like my my lashes just like come out. So I messed up the eyeliner a tiny bit doing the curling. It looks like the eyeliner hadn't fully dried, so I'm just gonna go in after the mascara is done to clean it up a little bit. It's not bad, but just gonna give it a little bit of cleanup later. This mascara, I know that it's a dupe for one of the high-end products, and I don't recall which one, so I'm gonna I'll try to link that in the description if I can remember which one it is. But then it just occurred to me that it would be really fun to do a dupe video. I follow Brandify on Instagram, and I also have seen a lot of other YouTubers talk about dupes for trending high-end makeup, or I guess not even trending, but like, for example, like the Laura Mercier translucent powder that's been like kind of a gold standard for a long time. There's one of the e.l.f., the Halo Glow setting powders is kind of a dupe for that. So I think it'd be fun to do some dupes. All right, that's done. I'm just gonna use the Urban Decay All Nighter Spray. I got the Ultra Matte, which I haven't used before. But I've heard lots of good things. One problem I have is like opening my eyes too wide right after I apply setting spray. So I'm gonna try to keep them semi-shut while this dries. And last step is just lips. I'm gonna use the NYX Fat Oil Lip Drip in the shade, guys, what's the shade? Supermodel. I love the applicator so much. I just think it's like so cute. And it's a really light tint. I didn't want to go really extra with the lips because the eyes already have so much going on. But I just think this lip gloss is the cutest. It makes my lips look so like nourished and healthy and glossy. So I would highly recommend the lip drip. So this is the finished look. So you can see the eyes, I'm leaning in. I think it's really cute. It doesn't really go with my outfit today, which is the cherries and the strawberries. But it's a really cute look, and I will definitely be wearing this again. So thank you to everybody who stuck around to watch, and I'll see you next time.